get more now from Seth Frantzman, who is the opinion editor at the Jerusalem Post. Thanks so much for joining us. You know, this all seems really even more tragic, given that Prime Minister Netanyahu had acknowledged a need to end the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, and Egypt had taken steps to help moderate agreements. Why does it all seem to be unraveling now?
Well, I'm not sure if we know exactly why it's unraveling now, but it's been 6 months of tensions and riots along the Gaza border, in which I think around 200 Palestinians have been killed. There's been hundreds of rockets fired into Israel in the last 6 months, and tens of thousands of dunams or thousands of acres burned by balloons launched from Gaza. So I think we have to understand this in the context of this kind of tit for tat that's been going on between Israel and Hamas, in which Hamas obviously wants to receive something in terms of some relaxation of the blockade of Gaza. And Israel obviously wants Hamas to stop firing rockets into Israel and stop the clashes on the border. So I think it comes in that context. Of course, last night was unprecedented in having, I think, around 400 rockets fired to Israel, which is more than in any day of many of the previous conflicts in Gaza with Israel.
I don't want to get into the argument of who fired first, because there always seems to be this issue. Israel says that Gaza fired rockets into Israel, and Gaza says vice versa. But you, correct me if I'm wrong, believe the real core of this conflict in Gaza has more to do with discord between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority really trying to isolate Gaza.
Well, I think a big part of this puzzle is, and I've written about this, is that the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah, run by Mahmoud Abbas, has put sanctions on Gaza and cut the Gazan salaries also over the last 6 months. And there are actually protests in Ramallah, I think, in May, June, July. So I think we have to understand this is not a simple story. The Palestinian Authority is trying to clamp down on Hamas. Obviously, Israel doesn't get along with Hamas. You have the Egyptian aspect, and you also have Qatar, which just transferred $15 million into Gaza Strip to pay some salaries. So we have to understand that this is a very complex conflict that spans all throughout the region.
It is complex, but if you can, give us your view of what you expect to happen next.
Well, I don't think that Israel or Hamas want a real war, and we can see that in the fact that Hamas basically telegraphs what they're going to do. Hamas says, well, if you do this, then we'll hit Tel Aviv. And, you know, Israel does the same thing. If you saw last night, there were these huge airstrikes in Gaza, but very few people are actually killed because Israel will always warn the people beforehand. So I don't think either side wants a war. I think that Israel wants quiet on the Gaza border, and Hamas wants to receive some sort of concession so Hamas can pretend that it won. So that might be that Hamas gets some more goods or maybe more money from Qatar for some more salaries, and basically it can pretend that it got something out of the 6 months. And Israel can also say, well, we got some quiet. And I think that would be the only way to perhaps move forward.
Okay, Seth Frantzman, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.